Well, hopefully, if
Hopefully-
anyone's watching this, we've unfrozen. I've got no idea whether it was StreamYard, YouTube, or what that was cocking around. We're back. We're back. So I'm sure that
We are
gradually
indeed,
people will
but I think
join
my
us.
internet's
So
playing up.
We got five. We got five back.
yeah, they're going to come
Come on,
piling
tell
over.
your
I'm
friends. Get the rest of them back. We
Yeah.
had 29. Bloody
Pull them
hell.
all in. Pull them all in. We're all together.
Yeah.
Right, Steve, you was in mid flow when we was informed that we had frozen in time.
Yeah, but I think it's StreamYard's attempt to save everybody watching this stream from my inane rambling, actually. But no, what I think the point I'm making is Moyes seems to be very good at bringing on players and improving them. Craig Dawson, Aaron Creswell, but give him Lucas Paqueta and Scamacca, integrate them into a progressive attacking team. He can't do it.
Doesn't look that way, does it?
Well, I don't see where he goes, to be honest. He looks thoroughly fed up and annoyed, but he keeps doing the same thing. Guess what? We keep losing. Surely, at some point, you do something different. You don't keep playing Bowen because he was awful yesterday. You don't keep playing Souček. You try something else. And if you try something else and lose, at least you've had a go. But it's not working. Now, I am David Moyes' biggest fan. I always wanted him at the club. I always wanted him as our manager. Okay? And I want to be very clear on that. And the board have said he'll have time to turn it round. But how long can you go? How long can you make an £880 million investment in a club West Ham size and allow this to continue?
Yeah.
If we'd come 9th and 10th over the last two seasons and hadn't qualified for Europe, you could live with this a bit better. But you've come 7th, you've signed £180 million worth of players, and it's clueless. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I do think losing Stuart Pearce and Mark Noble's had a massive impact. And I wonder whether when Noble comes back in January, we'll see a change. Because Noble would never have put up with that performance yesterday. He would have been going spare at them. And actually, till the end of the season, interim manager, and this is a big call, Noble would be good at it because he would kick them up the backside and make them play.
Yeah.
I was absolutely gobsmacked yesterday. And I've had lots of times when I've been gobsmacked being a West Ham supporter. But Brighton was in my top 5 all-time worst performances. So was that. So over 50 years, 2 of our all-time worst performances have come in the same season before we're halfway through, before Christmas. It's awful. Anyway, those are my thoughts.
I don't understand. I know, listen, I'm not going to sit here and say that he had a brilliant first 45, Scamacca. He didn't. And then he goes on to say about Benrahma, I didn't think he did that much after the goal. Well, let's turn our attention to 2 other individuals. And these are 2 individuals that for a long time have, for whatever reason, escaped the scrutiny of Mr. Moyes, for whatever reason. And those 2 being Thomas Souček and Jared Bowen. Now, for me, I think those 2 were equally as bad, possibly worse, and have been for a lot longer than just that match yesterday. I don't know what they've got to do to be dropped. I don't know what type of performance that either Jared Bowen or Thomas Souček consistently have to produce in order for David Moyes to look at them and go, guys, seriously, this isn't good enough, and you need to have a spell on the bench and someone else needs to have an opportunity? Because he turns around and says, I don't think Benrahma was doing all much since the goal. Well, Jared Bowen didn't do anything before the goal or after. He was totally fucking useless. Absolutely anonymous. Not for the first time this season. For whatever reason, the player that we had last season that got into an England squad that Liverpool were looking at and sniffing around, that player's disappeared. I don't know where he's gone. He seemed to have a little bit of an upturn a couple of games ago. And then he's bottomed out again. And once again, it's Benny getting the hook. Now, okay, you might agree and say that, yeah, to be fair, he didn't do that much after the goal. And okay, that's fine. But he got the goal. He was having a go. He was putting the defence under pressure as and when he could. But let's be honest about it. He was getting no support from anyone in the same postcode as him. None. Scamacca, again, you've got Italy's number 9. You've spent 36 million quid on this geezer. And you're not getting the best out of him. You've taken a 50 million pound playmaker, Brazil's number 10, and you've made him look like a pub player as well while we're at it. There's so many players that he's taken and he's sucked the life out of. And I've same as Duke, I've tried to be a defender of David Moyes by and large, but yesterday was just like, why is he taking Benny off again? And I don't know if you guys have seen the footage, the TV footage. You can see Benny looking over, and Moyes is on the touchline, and he's talking to Downs and Lanzini, and Benny's looking, and he knows precisely who's getting the hook. And he's just shaking his head. He knew that he was getting hooked. You know, he was like, here we fucking go again. I mean, it happened in the Newcastle game, didn't it? I think it was Newcastle last season. We lost 3-2, didn't we? And he got hooked. And you could see Benny sort of like remonstrating with Moyes and all the rest of it. And it turned, and someone lip read it, and he said basically worse to the effect of, it's always me. Why is it always me, sort of thing? And do you know what? There are games when Benny's been hooked where he's deserved it, but not yesterday. And there were 62,000 people in the stadium that knew it. There were 62,000 people that looked and went, what are you doing? And testament to that was the fact that the crowd was sort of like singing Saeed Benrahma's name. Absolutely piss poor. Yes, he hooked Thomas Souček, not before time. But Jared Bowen once again escaped. You know, he played the whole match. Here's the thing for me, and someone, and I won't name names because they might not want me to sort of make them known, but there's a group that I'm in on WhatsApp, and they turned around and made the point. Is the reason why Thomas Souček is escaping scrutiny is because he's a Czech player, and there's a certain Daniel Krasinski that owns a certain amount of the club. He's the second highest shareholder at the club and is possibly going to be taking a controlling interest from March onwards. Is it possible, and I'll ask you two gentlemen, do you think it's possible that he's escaping scrutiny because there's a little bit of a fear that, I can't drop the Czech guy because there's a Czech guy that's about to take over the club and we want to keep him sweet and all the rest of it? And as for Jared Bowen, there's an obsession, it seems, from David Moyes to get him into the England squad by hook or by crook for the World Cup. Well, he's not playing good enough to get in the England squad. He's quite frankly not playing good enough to get into the West Ham starting 11. But Moyes keeps on playing him. It's like any other player had that poor performances again and again and again, they'd be dropped. For whatever reason, he's got a very unhealthy obsession with playing Jared Bowen. He doesn't want to drop him because he wants him to get into this World Cup squad. David Moyes, you are the West Ham manager, right? You're Scottish, for Christ's sakes. Why do you give a fuck what happens to England in the World Cup? You know, that's none of your business. You're paid by the West Ham hierarchy to get the best squad out there, to pick the best team out there, to get the best outcome. You're playing a player again and again that is nowhere near the level they need to be to take to that pitch. Why? What is going on? Anyway.
I'll tell you what, I had never thought about the Souček-Kretinsky connection. Now, I don't actually think Kretinsky is going to buy the club. From what I've been reading, Kretinsky invested in it so he could sell his shares at a profit, which is what Kretinsky does. It's possible, I suppose, but if that's the reason Souček's playing, if that's the reason he keeps getting picked, then there's something seriously wrong. You should be in the side on merit, and he doesn't deserve to be in the side. And Jared Bowen is driving me nuts. But the thing about Bowen is, I think people have looked at what he does, because yesterday was the first time I've seen him go down the wing and cross it with his right foot. Up until yesterday, every game he's tried to cut in his left. And I actually think teams have worked him out. And the problem he has now is, because he's been a one-trick pony for so long, that trick, eventually, people can see through and stop him. The number of games I've seen this season, when we've been there, Gatesy, where he's had some space and he's cut inside for his left foot, and the defender's moved before he's cut in because he knows that's what he's going to do. And he's closed the space before Bowen's even tried to get into it. If Jared Bowen goes to the World Cup, it's a farce. I'm sorry. I've got nothing against the lad, but he's just not good enough. The other thing I do think is, you've got a group of young men there, most of them in their 20s, highly paid, very mollycoddled, and I look at myself when I was 25 and I look at myself 30 years on. I'm a totally different human being, fortunately. But at 25, you think you know everything and, you are the best thing there's ever been. And you have to manage a 25-year-old very differently to how you manage, say, a 40-year-old who's on the staff. And I think that could be part of the problem. He doesn't know how to manage what is effectively, from my perspective, a group of highly paid kids. That's just what I think.
Your thoughts, Duke?
I mean, no, the whole Kretinsky-Souček thing doesn't fly with me because he drops Soufal. Okay, Soufal gets dropped. So for me, I don't know. Listen,
he needs to have at least one check in the team. I don't know.
No. Honestly, I don't think Kretinsky would give two shits about that. Honestly, I don't. Now, I think that the problem is he's going to be justified in his thinking, right? As mentioned earlier, that he takes him off, Souček, we can see the goal. It was mentioned by Gonzo earlier.
Yeah.
And you know what? I can see him being that much of a prick that's how he would go. Okay, I can see it happening. Now, I'm frustrated. I'm angry. I'm upset. I'm talking about. I'm going through all the emotions once again that I went through over the last 24 hours, talking to other West Ham fans like I am here. and I'm seeming to rehash it now, and it's quite obvious that I've been flogging a dead horse for the last 3 months, trying to defend him, trying to make sure, trying to. I don't know.
It's difficult, isn't it, to put into words? That's the thing.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. I mean, if I'm honest with you, right now, it's been said across other channels. We're at a point where Moyes has taken us as far as he can,
Yeah.
and looking back on it and taking off my own glasses, that course was run in January, February, like this year. All right, nearly a year ago. And what we're looking at now is, the fallout from that. The next manager needs to come in, and he needs to be one that, let me rephrase that, they need to be one. Because I wouldn't be adverse to it being a female manager if it was the right one. I don't care. They need to come in, pick players up off the floor like Benny, like Declan, like Bowen, I suppose. There's issues there. Like Scamacca, like Paqueta, and we need to go to the next step. And there is a next step to go to. Yeah?
Yeah.
There is a next step to go to.
Predictable isn't the word, Dave.
We are at a point where, if I can just jump on this, I've just looked on camera. Yes, they're downstairs now. We're in a situation where we need to find that next step. Okay, we need to find the leg up, if you will, to that next level. We need to find the right manager. We need to find the right backroom staff. I mean, listen, this isn't going to come cheap. Whatever follows, this isn't going to come cheap. Okay. I agree with what Kate says there. It's a lack of respect is shown us. He made comments.
It's the Allardyce cupping of the year, isn't it?
Yeah, there seem to be a lot of experts out there, or something along those, words to those effect. And you know what? You've lost me. I've spent weeks, months fighting your corner, and you've pretty much just gone and right. They will sack him, Amber. Trust me, they will, because there'll be too much of a backlash from it.
Yeah, it's probably.
Do you know what worries me? Do you know what worries me?
You're going to say exactly what I'm going to think. Go on.
Well, do you remember when we had Avram Grant, and they were, and it's the same people that were in charge then, what's in charge now? Obviously, Krasinski has come on board since, but fundamentally, Golden, Sullivan, and Brady were in charge then. And Avram Grant was basically taking us down the toilet. And then, if I remember rightly, we got to around about Christmas, and I think from memory, we won away at Craven Cottage, and this was around about the time that they were sounding out Martin O'Neill.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, we won a couple of games, and they went, oh, hang on a minute, he might be turning things around here. The thing that worries me actually is that we played Blackburn. We beat Blackburn, which, to be honest, in the grand scheme of things, the game against Blackburn's something of an irrelevance to me. But we beat Blackburn, and then we go and we play Leicester, and let's say we fluke a win. Don't look anything particularly good going forwards, but we managed to get a scruffy 1-0 win. They ain't going to sack him then, I'm fairly confident. So then he's going to have that break between, obviously, the World Cup. Well, we've got Arsenal away when we come back.
Oh, no.
This is top of the table Arsenal. Now, so it just seems to me that, look, I think we can write that game off, and I don't mean to be defeatist about it, but let's be honest, I don't think that it's really sort of like realistic to say we're going to go to there and get a result, because let's be honest, David Moyes doesn't have a track record of going away to the top 6 teams and getting an awful lot. A draw would be a great result in his estimation, and that's kind of the problem. I don't know what to sort of think anymore. I mean, I think, like I think he does need to go. With regret. He's done great the last 2 seasons, 6th, 7th, European semi-final. Fantastic. Thank you very much. Yes, sometimes the football has been a little bit pragmatic. We've played on the break. We've relied on set pieces and all the rest of it. So you kind of, when you're getting results and you're getting that sort of relative success, you kind of go, okay, fine, it is what it is. But for whatever reason, we're not that effective team on the counter anymore. We're not that dangerous team from set pieces anymore.
No.
We're boring.
Yeah.
I don't get me wrong. I want us to win, but I also want to be entertained. I pay a lot of money for my season ticket. A lot of money for my season. Well, 4 season tickets I've got. And I'm bored shitless.
Rob, let me ask you, just based on that, it's just one question, just quickly. Would you take boring football, 1-0 wins, 2-0 wins, and win the league?
Yes.
But we're getting boring football and we're losing.
Nothing. That's what I mean. You know, you're saying there you want to be entertained. What I'm getting from that then is you'd be quite happy not to lose every game. But if the football was entertaining and we lost as we went along and we won, you know, the same sort of games that we were losing, you're taking the entertainment and you're going, okay, fantastic. But it's then it's the fact that it's shit football. It's the same bollocks that we're seeing. It's the same wank excuses week in, week out. It's the same dirge of performances from the same players week in, week out. And the fact that he doesn't want to change it, the fact that the players are even, I think, to a point refusing to play anywhere near their best because of him. Have they thrown in the towel under him because, well, he's refusing to acknowledge anything else?
I'd like to put this question out there for you guys to answer. Gates, you and I were at the Leicester game last year when we won it 4-0, weren't we, at home?
4-1, yeah.
4-1.
It was the first home game of the season, wasn't it?
Yeah, and we were brilliant that night, weren't we?
Yes, we were. We're a million miles away from that.
Yeah, some of the best football. Talk about extremes. That was some of the best football I've seen West Ham play in a very long time. There is no way we're going to get that performance 3:00 Saturday. And I tell you what, if we play like we did yesterday, Leicester are going to hammer us. We are going to lose 3-4-0 because when it comes to a cutting edge, Leicester have actually got more about them than Palace, in my opinion. Now, this is what I'm expecting to see on Saturday. And like you, I've got 2 season tickets, band 3, cost me about $1,000 a year. One's mine and one's a junior one. And I want to go, and I want to be entertained. Yesterday, I would have been much happier sat at home watching a film than watching that. And that's, considering how much I'm passionate about West Ham, that's very damning.
I'd have been happier watching the shipping forecast, quite frankly. That's how entertaining yesterday was.
Well, we were both beside ourselves, weren't we? I mean, at the end of the game, you and I were absolutely gobsmacked. Just how bad it was. And you can't say we haven't got the players to play better than that. There is no way with the group of players we've got, Palace should come to us, have more possession and dominate us. And I said it at half time. to the people behind me. You know, we should not be getting dominated. We should at least, bare minimum, be 50-50 with them.
Well, Paul says the same thing there, Steve, in his comment at the side. Everyone's talking, and including you guys, about the Arsenal game. And he says there, this is the Moyes effect, if for want of a better word. He's got in our heads, and all of a sudden we're writing off the trip to Arsenal. You know, and I
Because
agree
of him.
with him. Whereas, again, we bring in someone new, and I've got a list of managers here, Rob,
Yeah, fire away.
that
go through it.
are currently available.
By the way, if I may take this opportunity, 51 of you are watching. We've only got 13 likes. Could you do us a favour? Pop across to YouTube and stick a like on the stream. It really does help the channel out. Thank you kindly.
So the most interesting manager names that are available right now, on a free, out of work, everything else, yeah? You've got Tuchel, whatever you want to call him.
Yep.
Mauricio Pochettino and Joachim Low. Now, I've already made my comments on those three.
Yep.
So I shall leave that. Listen, any one of those three, I'd love to walk through the door tomorrow morning. I'll be honest to God, I'd be buzzing if one of those three walked through the door tomorrow, right? Or even in the next week. I'd be absolutely flying. My only concern, Scott, as you put that there, is the fact that Lowe hasn't managed club football for a significant number of years, and I don't know whether that will, help. You've then got Steven Gerrard. I nearly barred Cyber from my pub for mentioning that man's name in reference to Moyes getting the sack. Domenico Tedesco. I don't know much about him. I've not heard about him. I don't know what. Bruno Lage. No, you're all right. I'll leave that one
No.
well alone. Peter Bosch.
He was the ex-Leon manager, wasn't he?
Okay. Farmers Market League. Only really 2 or 3 teams in that league. I'll let you, Addy Hutter.
No, you've lost me.
No. Scott Parker. Now, you know what? In a few years' time, I'd probably be loving that man, but not right now. Not the situation we find ourselves in. Sean Dyche, as Ken says, his name is all over this. Then I've got 3 more names. Okay, 3 more names, and one of them I'd be interested in short term, but we don't want short term. Okay, now that name is Rafa Benitez. If you could have given him to me 2.5 years ago, I would have taken him like a shot. But right now, not so much. The other name was mentioned a minute ago in here, and it was Andre Villas-Boas. And then
He's never really done it in the Premier League, though, is he?
Nope. And then the final name that's on here, and I don't know how you guys feel. I'll cover that one in a minute, Hammer. I don't know how you guys feel, but tell me your thoughts on the other name, the final name on my list, former Leeds manager, Marco Bielsa.
If we weren't in a relegation battle, which I believe we are, I'd say, yeah, he was involved in a relegation battle last season with Leeds United, and they obviously got rid of him. So I think you need a manager with a very specific skill set for what we're currently facing.
I do believe when we appointed Bilic, we decided not to go for Marco Bielsa because his English wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
Now, and I may be wrong, but that's what I believe to be the case. And also we're looking at those managers. I probably would say,
fuck off, Paul. Prick.
I hate to say it, in the position we are, we could do worse, and I can't believe I'm saying that.
Let me ask you this. based off the back of that, right? I actually let me just cover Hammer 89's his comment, her comment, their comment. I don't know. Here, okay. My concern is Hammer, right? As I have mentioned this before on the channel, we spent £185 million in the summer. I know people are saying, yeah, but that's what we've had over the last X amount of years where we haven't signed, blah, 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 right? But again, it's a huge number. It's a big chunk, right? Now, if we were to sack Moyes, and without a doubt, the whole, and bear with me on this, so let me just get through it. The backroom team go as well.
Okay.
Whether or not we want them to go, if we're looking to bring someone in, like you guys have, let's say Pochettino or Thomas, Tuchel, or even Mancini, Neil, I tell you what, because he was the one that recommended Scamacca come to us, I'd be all over that. But anyway,
Yeah.
Again, I'll keep him. So we'll go with Pochettino, Mancini, and Tuchel Tuchel on this, right?
Yep.
Now, we spent £185 million in the summer. It's going to cost us probably somewhere in the region to sack all of the backroom staff, probably in and around, what, I'd say between 20, 25, 30 million quid, right? To pay off, what we're talking, Jesus Christ, about eight Premier League managers, yeah? Or, what we've got. Then what you're looking at to bring in, let's say one of those three, Mancini would have to pay a fee to, I want to say Napoli. I might be wrong.
No, he's managing Italy, isn't he?
Is he Italy, mate? Oh, fuck mine. All right. Well, he ain't going to be coming out of there before the end of the World Cup, is he? Oh no, they're not in the World Cup.
No.
Anyway, you're going to pay a premium for him because obviously you'd have to give compensation to the Italian the Italian FA, right? So then you go with Tuchel or you go with Pochettino. They're not coming for no money. They're not turning up on probably what Moyes is on. They're going to want 3 times that, plus all of his backroom team, plus his coaches, his own physios, blah blah blah, blah, all the way down the line. Yeah. All of a sudden, that 185 million that we spent is probably going to be looking closer to 250, 275, right? Can we afford 275 in a 6 month plus whatever then he's going to want, because he's going to want a transfer fund? We could be looking at 350. Okay. Yeah. Where do we sit on financial fair play?
That's just what I was thinking. Yeah. We're already on the watch list.
And this is what I tried to get at before when people were talking about Poch and TT. We're looking at 350 million quid from July last year to the end of January. That includes sacking the manager, his backroom team. That includes hiring a new manager and a new backroom team, probably on 2 or 3 times the amount of money.
It's a fair point, that, Charlie.
We're competing in Europe, yeah? We're competing in Europe, and we can have that taken away from us. Listen, I know nothing's guaranteed for next season. I know it's not. We're running well at the moment. If you bring in one of these guys, sack Moyes, bring in one of these guys, change of formation, change of tactics, oh, Jesus, that didn't sound too well. A change of philosophy. All of a sudden, we go on, we have a decent run, we finish top 10, we win the Conference League, and then to be kicked out because of financial fair play, because of this big upheaval. All right? I'm just saying. Listen, I'll tell you what, Scott, take the piss. I'd give it to my brother. I'll tell you what, and that's only because my brother knows exactly what he's talking about. Go on to Forge for Mine Facebook page. Have a look at my post. It's currently at the top. Have a look. I've credited him. Everything he said in there, he sent me in a text message last night, and I find it absolutely spot on. I cannot disagree with a word he says. He's managed, all right, at lower
Tell you
league.
what. Do you, with one of the technology, just before we move on, do you want me to share that with? I can share it on the screen.
Go on, and then I'll
Just
read
before I do, I found this one quite interesting. Can you guys see the average positions that we took up yesterday?
That's our centre forward on the halfway line.
That's us in a home fixture against, with all due respect to them, Crystal Palace. And I'm fairly sure Crystal Palace didn't spend 180 million in the summer transfer window. And that, ladies and gentlemen, what it got us yesterday. It's fantastic, isn't it?
No, it's not.
No, it's absolutely pathetic, is what it is.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Can I just come on this manager thing? Southampton have just sacked Hasenhüttl. Okay.
Yep.
Now, I'm not suggesting for a moment we have Hasenhüttl at West Ham. Heaven forbid. But look where Southampton are going for their next manager, because that's what they can afford. And following on from Duke's point, if a club like Southampton are looking at the Championship and trying to get a manager up from there, that wouldn't be any good for us either. We've got to be really careful here. I mean, I'd read somewhere that Mancini had been sounded out about the job. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But I think the most likely manager we'll get, based off what he did at Newcastle, is Benitez. Because they wanted Benitez before, he was just about to come, and Real Madrid came knocking. And, you know, he's on very good terms with the West Ham board, because he turned around to them and said, look, I can't turn this down. And all the West Ham board did was say, we wish you every success. We understand completely. Do I think Benitez would do a good job for us? Yes, I do. He was on a hiding to nothing at Everton. My brother-in-law's an Everton fan. Lovely guy, but he's just an Everton fan. And the moment Benitez walked in that door, not one Everton fan wanted him because of the Liverpool connection. And whatever he did there, he was going to fail. He just could not achieve there.
bit like Billy Bonds and Steve Lomas when they went to Millwall.
Yeah, absolutely. Although slightly higher profile. But,
or George Graham when he went to Arsenal. Tottenham.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean that. And George Graham was a good manager. A bit dire, perhaps, in his approach, but he won the league. You know,
Twice.
There'll be riots if we get Dyche. I think the thing is with Dyche, what he did with that Burnley side was nothing short of remarkable. He didn't have a budget, he didn't have the players, and he kept Burnley in the Premier League. It would be very interesting to see what he could do with a better quality squad. I don't know.
I don't think, though, Steve, he's not had the quality of players. And let's be honest, we have quality players. We have top draw players. We have Brazil's number 10. We have Italy's number 9. We have possibly... fuck it. I'm not even going to go possibly anymore. We have the best defensive midfielder in the world at his age. There is no one better at his age than Declan Rice in the position that he plays. There isn't.
In this country, I'd agree.
I think anywhere, mate. I think the only person better than him in his position in the world is Joshua Kimmich, but that's an argument for another day. We have players, we have international players like and I don't want people to rip me apart, but you have a Moroccan in Nathan Agard. You you have Kurt Zuma. You have Areola. You have Moroccan international in Benrahma. You have Czech internationals in Soufal and Souček. You have England international in Jared Bowen. You have Argentinian and Spanish internationals in Fornals and Lanzini. These are top quality players.
Yeah.
Okay, these are top quality players. He never had those, really, not that level of international, that amount of international, that set of quality players at Burnley. I see where you're coming from with, what he did on a budget. You could say that about any manager. What Eddie Howe did at Bournemouth was tremendous. Did I think he was going to be the right manager to go in at Newcastle? I had a feeling he was going to be good. I can't say that I thought it was going to work out as quickly as it has done. And am I jealous that they got him? Yes, because I'd have loved him, regardless of what they can spend. But he's managing. Again, there's not a huge amount of internationals or elite internationals at that club. Do you see what I mean? So, but he's working something and he's building on what he's got. When that comes to going to the next level and we start looking at bringing in these elite international players, is he going to have the man management and everything around him? That's waiting to be seen. Now, I'll tell you what I have a concern about is we're going to end up with Warburton. And that's what concerns me. That's what scares me. Rob, if you can do me a favour, because I just got a message from downstairs from Chloe. She needs some change. Can you just go through that and then I'll say some bits on that when I get back?
Okay, no problem.
Cheers,
Right, I
man.
don't know how much of this you guys can see at home. So for the benefit of you, I will read this. And as I say, this is from Duke's brother Daniel. So this is a long. It says long post, but bear with it as it's some bloody good content. If we are going to play out from the back, then we have to play Zuma at right centre back and either Aguerd or Ogbonna at left centre back. That way, we would have them on the correct foot to receive and make passes. We then need to have Rice or Downs as the pivot player dropping in to receive. If the above does not happen, then the goalkeeper has to be Areola because Fabianski will tear his hamstring. Squeeze up the pitch and push Rice and Souček up. Hit them or Scamacca, get players round and beyond the ball for first, second and third contact. If we are insisting on playing Cresswell, then play a back three and use him as the left centre-back. We need pace out wide, which Emerson will have, and he is capable. Right back has to be Jono or Kufal. I'd like us to fuck the 4-2-3-1 off and play 4-3-3 with either Rice or Downs as the single CDM with a pair from Paqueta, Lanzini, Fornals next to them. Our wide players are being fucked because the fullbacks aren't quick or agile enough to get forward and back, resulting in the wide players having to stay wide and then they can't get into the game. Case in point, Bowen last year was brilliant because Kufal was constantly overlapping, which meant Bowen could move inside the pitch closer to goal. He's been unable to do that this year. I also think the fullbacks aren't going forward because Rice and Souček don't want to be the sitters and have developed a bit of an ego about. That's why Downs was in the 10 for the last 3 weeks to provide the legs to get back. Scamacca is definitely the better of the two attacking options. There's no comparison. But he needs runners off him. Give him the ball to feet and let him turn so he can either drive at the opposition defence, pass it off, or shoot. But for this to happen, Rice and Paqueta need to run between the fullbacks and centre-backs. Or Benrahma and Bowen need to do, which means the fullbacks need to be high and wide, courtesy of Duke's brother Daniel. So I don't know whether you're back, Duke. Nope, I'm guessing
No,
he
doesn't
isn't.
seem. I mean,
So,
that's a really good analysis, isn't it?
yeah,
But
and as Duke says, he's a football coach, so he knows his stuff.
But isn't it interesting? Duke's brother, I've never met the guy. I'm sure he's a lovely bloke like Duke. Has never managed at the Premier League level, but he can sit there and see the fundamental problems that is causing us to play like a bunch of lemons. Now, if Duke's brother can see it, and I'm sure he's very accomplished at the level he was, why the hell can't Moyes?
It's a very pertinent question. I think that Moyes can see it. I think he's just too proud and stubborn to actually admit that he's cocked up and he needs to sort of go back to basics.
Yeah. There was a question earlier in the chat. Where did I see the Mancini thing? That was a few months ago, before we rallied a bit, and I can't remember where I saw it, but it was one of those. It was. They said, "Oh, potentially we have sounded out Mancini, so don't read too much into that." But I can't express the level of annoyance because it's not working and we still do it. You know, it's if you're teaching somebody something, whatever it is, whether it be how to plaster a ceiling, how to do maths, if they don't get it the way you're teaching it, guess what? You try it another way.
Yep.
You keep changing. You don't just keep on repeating the same thing, hoping that the penny will finally drop. Because guess what? It won't. If you keep saying to somebody, you do it like this, and they don't understand it, they are not going to understand it no matter how many times you tell them. We will not win football matches doing the same thing again and again and again. And I'm dreading going to the Leicester match. I'm looking forward to the pie and mash, but the Leicester match itself, I can see us just getting played off the park. And if we lose that, then we've got serious problems. It's all well and good saying we're in the last eight of the Conference League. Well, we damn well should have been against the sides we were up against.
I do think that the Conference League has provided David Moyes with a little bit of cover. It's been a little bit of smoke and mirrors, a little bit of a distraction away from what's been going on in the Premier League. Oh, look, we won the 2 qualifiers and we won 6 out of 6 in the league. So that's 8 games, 8 wins in the Conference League, which, okay, great. But
we should
what about what's going on over here? This is your bread and butter. This is the reason you paid 180 million in the summer, because you want to sort of like do something. You want to challenge the upper echelons of the Premier League. It's not because you want to win the Conference League. I mean, don't get me wrong, winning the Conference League would be nice, but ultimately, the Premier League, that is your bread and butter. That's your day-to-day thing. The Conference League is a nice little garnish on the side of the plate. It's not the main event. It isn't. Duke, we've obviously gone through your brother's assessment, so you wanted to get stuck into that. So please.
Yeah, it was his thing about Bowen and Soufal, actually, that really kind of opened my eyes to what everything that was around it. And he sent me some pictures, and as I say, I'm going to work on some stuff with him over the next couple of days if he's free. I mean, we've got 64 people watching. He might be one of them hiding away in there.
Only 26 likes though, guys.
But I'm gonna try and see.
Can we get him on so he can actually give the analysis?
He doesn't want to come on. I've already asked him.
Oh, right.
I've already worked on that. Hence the reason he's speaking through me. It's so blatantly obvious, that it's painful. You know, the fact that you can see that the Soufal going forward last year was phenomenal. Yeah, phenomenal. And it worked. You look at the crosses, the free kicks, and everything else, set pieces. We were phenomenal, right? Well, you look at the reason for Bowen not having as good a season as he did last year. Coincides with the fact that for some reason we are playing very much a defensive line now, a very much compact defending kind of tactical style of football. You know what I mean? It's that you listen to what Antonio
Low block.
said, and Antonio is obviously pissed off enough that he's come out and said it on a podcast that this is what Moyes has said. And because obviously Rice and Souček, and let's be honest, it's part of the reason he's played Downs is in a 10 as well to give them that kind of freedom. They're having to hold because the other two aren't. Because the other two are going, fuck it, we're going. Which is then obviously not giving Bowen the support that he needs on that side of the pitch. If you look, our left winger didn't have that productive a season last year. If you think back, Fornals didn't have the season that Bowen had over there because Cresswell can't get up and down like he used to.
Yep.
You look at Soufal getting up and down, as Danny says, it allowed Bowen to come inside. You look at the game against, I want to say City, Rob. We were both there, 2-2 at London Stadium,
Oh, yeah. What a
end
game.
of last season. Steve, you were there as well.
Yeah, we were. All of us.
You look at where Bowen spent most of his time in that first half. Look where Soufal spent most of his time in that first half. Whoop! All the way out, or even Johnson, all the way up there, which allowed Bowen to come inside. And that's what we're lacking this season. Because Moyes has put the kibosh on what seems to be any attacking play. Mandy says there, the high press when it happens is sporadic. You want to know something? Someone who I thought was pressing, works with Scamacca when pressing was Flynn Downs. Flynn Downs, when pressing with Scamacca, worked because they both did it in unison. If you watch Scamacca yesterday, I believe at one point they were kind of knocking it around their back line. Goes back to the keeper. Scamacca goes to charge forward, puts the brakes on slightly, points over his shoulder to their, what I believe was their left back. You could hear him, you couldn't, but you could hear him shout, someone close him down, I'm going there. And then he turns round as the ball goes back to the player he's pointed at, and no fuckers closed him down. And he's there like, what is the point of me running if I've got no one else doing the same? Because Downs wasn't on the pitch. Downs was doing that from the 10 in the games that Paqueta was unavailable. So because Moyes has got us sitting and doesn't want to attack because, we've got to keep it safe, we're lacking our attacking creativity. And as far as I'm concerned, he's done. We've been ranting about this for over an hour now between the two streams. I'm exhausted of now trying to defend him. If going by what Mandy's just said there,
Hi, Logan.
get out. Going by what Mandy's just said there, no, you're right, Mandy. He shouldn't need to say that, Scamacca. But it should be a high press like Arsenal. But a group high press like Arsenal should be probably 4 or 5 players at most. It shouldn't be any more than that because then you're sacrificing a defensive line. If you see what I mean, it should be your front 4 players. It should be, if we play the 4-2-3-1 or whatever, it should be Scamacca,
Likewise,
Bowen,
Andy.
Benrahma, Paqueta. It should be those four pushing out. It should then be Souček, Rice, Souček, Downs, Souček, Rice, Downs, one of them, two of them, three. Kind of just shifting a little bit further forward to stop the play out into the middle, and then the ball coming, being lobbed forward. The two boys at centre back winning the header, and we gain control and we go again. That's what all the good teams do. They press. That's what they do. In answer to Hammer's question, probably after Blackburn if it's not a good game, but definitely after Leicester if we lose. Good evening, Andy. You beautiful man.
Shall we get into because obviously time's ticking. Guys, before we get into the player ratings, there's 72 of you watching live. If you're not watching on YouTube, could you do us a favor and pop over there? And if you are watching it on YouTube, either way, drop a like on the stream. We're currently up to 29 likes. As I say, there's 73 of you watching. So if we can get the likes up, as I say, it really does help the old algorithms as far as YouTube's concerned to get our stuff out there and to more people and get the channel getting bigger. Okay, gentlemen, we will go into the bit that we've all been waiting for. This could be quite interesting. And you guys in the live chat get involved as well. Player ratings. Okay, right. Here we go. This is the starting 11 that took to the pitch yesterday, gentlemen. So we do what we always do. We'll start between the sticks. I'll go with our guest, Mr. Steve. You can start us off with Fabianski.
6 didn't do anything wrong, really, did he? Couldn't do anything about the goals. Caught a nice couple of crosses when we were under pressure. In second half, distribution was its usual awful self, but I don't think a lot actually lies at Fabianski's door yesterday. He was okay.
So he gets a 6, you say?
Yeah, 6 for me.
Fair. How about yourself, Duke? What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I completely agree with what he's just said. I can't say, Hammerhead just at the end. Kent, see you later on, mate. Hammerhead at the end there, so I'm jumping ahead a bit, Steve. Rob. Hammerhead says that it was poor positioning by Fabianski for both of the goals. I'm not going to blame him for the first one. I'm certainly not going to blame him for the second one. That was a wicked deflection and doesn't go in if it doesn't take the deflection. Right, move on. He got a 6. The most frustrating thing for me with him is he really slows down our counter-attacking play.
Yeah, that's fair assessment.
Charlie, cheers, buddy. Take care.
We'll go right back. Steve, talk to me about Thilo Kehre's performance.
I thought, most people won't agree with this, but I thought he was actually decent going forward. A lot of good passes. The ball Dawson gave him for the goal. I know people are saying it's 50-50, but Dawson's a professional footballer. Should be able to pass the ball better than that. I tell you what, I'm going to give him. I'll give him a 6 as well because I'd really enjoyed watching him go forward. Some of his play, passing, 6 for me.
Duke?
Kehrer, 3.
Oh.
Again, really not impressed. He's Steve there says about him going forward, his positional frailties right now scare me. Right back. I got it. It's me, Benrahma. Woo! He's really irritating me. I'm not going to lie. He's getting caught out of position. There's a lot of crap that comes with that. And then that, listen, you can pin the blame on one or two or both. I'm pinning the blame on both. He should be able to control the football no matter how hard it's kicked at him. He should be able to cushion the control and make a pass. And you know what I mean? So, a fucking 3.
Fair. Well, we turn our attention now to the guy who played that ball. Steve?
Wake up! Sorry, sneezed.
3. I thought he had... For Dawes, I thought he had an awful game. He looked nervous. Some of his long passing, which has been so good in the past, was awful. It was a really poor performance by Dawson, I thought. So I'm giving him
Same as at Man United, wasn't it? He didn't have a good game there either, so it's 2 inconsecutive matches.
Yeah, yeah. But not impressed at all.
So you've given him a 3, did you say?
Yes, a 3.
Fair. Duke?
He's lucky to get a 3 from me, Rob. I was actually toying with the idea of actually going with a 2, and I thought that's really actually 2. Fuck it, I'm going 2. I don't care.
Yeah.
His body language yesterday, Rob, told me that he's already got the move in January, wherever it's going to be, whoever it's going to be to. I don't care. His body language told me he gave not 1 shit yesterday, let alone 2. I be honest with you, I wouldn't be bothered if I didn't see him wear a West Ham shirt again before his move. I know he's only got probably 3 or 4 games, but it wouldn't bother me if I never saw him in a West Ham shirt. Despondent body language that told me I don't give a fuck. I really don't. So why bother? And that pass, Jesus Christ, how hard did you want to hit it over 8 yards? Like, it was high. It was hard. It was. I actually think he was probably trying to put it out of play, and Kehrer just happened to be in the fucking way.
Fair enough. Steve, Kurt Zouma.
Zuma got some credit for me. He tried hard. Kurt Happy Zuma is indeed Kurt Happy Zuma in that he always puts a reasonable performance in. He always has something that gets him some credit. So he's going to get a 5 from me.
Fair enough. What about yourself, Duke?
Well, actually, going to give him a 6. I thought he was probably one of the better of a bad bunch. You could see he was actually trying. I think and that's a scary thing to say when you're talking about professional footballers. The word, "Oh, he looked like he was trying." Cheers, Paul. Take it easy, buddy. Message me and we'll meet up. The fact that I'm saying that he's trying, that worries me. That he's trying to be in the right position. He's trying to carry his team forward. I'm trying at times, Rob. So 6.
Fair enough. Steve, Aaron Cresswell.
4.
Ooh.
Didn't think he was spectacular. Got forward a bit. No, I mean, this is the problem. I'm looking at the whole team through a very, very jaded view of a lot of them. So they could have been world class yesterday, had the games of their lives, and they still get low marks. But I'm going to give them a 4.
Duke, yourself?
Yeah, I'm in agreement with him. Again, I didn't see. Listen, Cresswell that we saw last season, his delivery from free kicks, his deliveries from corners, that's not there anymore, Rob.
No.
And I know we're basing this on one game, but how many times, I'm not being funny, the fact that Scamacca's having to take corners, which we alluded to, I think it was either Man United or Liverpool. He took a corner. That shouldn't be happening. That should be the guy with possibly the best left foot wand in his position in the league. I mean, it's unbelievable. That man had so many assists, or assist of an assist, if you will, from corners and set pieces last year. We hit the bar from free kicks and corners more times than I care to imagine last season. 13, I think, according to the clips. This season, we're not even beating the fucking first man. So
he's not the only one with set piece deliveries.
Oh,
though,
I know, but that shows you.
But
that shows you just how bad he is, Rob. That others are now having to step in to take them. That's my point. But no, yesterday, I again 4. He was, yeah.
Fair enough. Steve, Declan Rice.
Well, Dec's going to get a bit of a pace in here, not entirely because of his play, which I didn't think was great yesterday, but he's the captain. He needs to grab them by the scruff of the neck on the pitch and get them going. I'm going to give Deck a 3 because I thought his captaincy was awful yesterday.
Ouch. Duke?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've been toying with a 6 and a 7, to be honest with you. For a guy that wants to be the there it is. Thank you, Mandy. For the guy who wants to be the box-to-box midfielder, who wants to be the driving force in the spine of our team, I didn't see that. I haven't seen that. As Steve says, he's our captain. He should be forcing this team forward. He should be grabbing someone like Dawson by the back of the neck and short of punching him in the face, sort your game out, boy. Get your ass in gear and sort this shit out. Grabbing hold of the likes of Paqueta and Souček, Bowen, Kera. What the fuck was that? Sort your shit out. Let's go. We're better than this. Show me what you've got. There's none of that from him. There was none of that yesterday. I said the same with the Forest game. He tends to have come into his own when he comes now to having a little word with the referee. And, ref, do you not think that's a bit of a, foul on him or a foul on him or a foul? Like, sort your shit out. But I last few games, he looks despondent. And I made a comment, and I'm going to make a comment again, based on a couple of months ago. I made a comment about Deck, if you remember rightly. If that's how he wants to be, fuck off in January.
Yep.
Give me a captain. Give me a captain that, or give me someone who wants to be here. Give me someone who's going to fight for the badge that's on their shirt, fight for the name that's on the back of it. Prove to the fans that the name on the back of that shirt and the badge on the front of that shirt means the world to you, because you are doing what we want to do, right? Show the fans that there's a bit of passion there. If you ain't going to do that, give us £100 million fuck off in January. We'll bring in someone who does.
Just to play devil's advocate, I mean, Victor makes the point there. Maybe he's not that type of captain. I mean,
Shouldn't be captain then.
Yeah,
No,
but hold on a
agree.
minute. Yeah, but hold on. Bobby Moore was our greatest ever captain. He wasn't a sort of like someone that would dig people out on the pitch.
Different time, different sort of players, Rob. Now's a time where you need to stand up and be counted, and none of them are doing that. And he should, as club captain, Mark Noble, Rob. Mark Noble used to lead. There it is. Mark Noble used to lead. If you were playing shit, it'd be in your face. Keep going, and you saw it. You saw it over the seasons, Rob. I don't see none of that from Deck. And if Deck was meant to have learned from him, what's he fucking learned? Like, I want to see a captain be taking a lead from us. Do you know what I mean? Let's go. You're not performing. Let's have fucking words. Sort your shit out. There used to be captains on the pitch that would literally get up to their players. I remember watching Roy Keane, watching old videos and footage back on Sky when I'm downstairs cleaning, and you see Roy Keane going over at corners, free kicks, dead spots in games, and he's in the ear roll of his teammates. Now, he's not ranting, he's not screaming, he's not shouting, but I can tell you now he's in their ear roll going, fucking sort of shit out now. He ain't doing it publicly, if you will, but he's having what looks to be a nice quiet word in their shell. Like, as I say, if we're going to carry on down this road, Deck can quite happily leave in January.
You should have seen Billy Bonds as the captain. God, he was something else, I tell you. Yeah, you look at Roy Keane being a captain. Bonzo, God, he drove, and it was quite a poor team, apart from one or two players. But Bonzo drove the West Ham team forward, and we got results we just shouldn't have had, just by purely and simply his force of will.
Fair enough. We then move to his partner in crime, Mr. Souček, Steve.
Right, offensively 0, defensively 6. He offered nothing going forward, but defensively he was very solid as usual. it's very hard to mark Souček as a midfielder because he offers nothing going forward. But when it comes to tackling, blocking, heading, he's really quite good. And I just find it immensely frustrating because people are expecting him to get the ball, pass it, and create things. He can't. But when it comes to breaking up play and stopping, he's really good.
He used to be quite good at getting into the box on the end of moves, Steve, not so long ago. That version of Souček has again disappeared without trace.
And that's because Dec wants to be box to box. A lot of what Dec is choosing to do at the moment and thinks it is his right to do is hindering the team in some ways. And for me, as much as I like Dec, and I mean, you saw the shirt he signed for my son for his 18th birthday. It was lovely.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as I do like Dec, and as much as he's a really nice lad, it's not about Declan Rice. It's on what he wants to do. It's about the 11 players on that pitch winning a game of football and working for each other. And Souček is so contained now. We've lost 10 goals in a season. You let Souček off the leash, I reckon he'd get 7 or 8 goals this season. No, he wouldn't be great going forward. He hasn't got that in his game. But he would defend like a warrior and nip up with some really vital goals. So I can't give him one mark because I just think he's been absolutely so hung out to dry this season. And I actually feel quite sorry for him. That's my opinion.
So do I take it that if you're going to mark him 6 defensively, 0 offensively, that we sort of say it's an average of 3?
3. Yeah, go on. 3.
Okay, fine. How about yourself, Duke?
Yeah, exactly that. I'm going to give him a 3. And he's lucky to get that, if I'm honest with you. Someone put a minute ago in the chat, I don't care if he leaves. And
Hammerhead.
I hate the fact that I'm there, but I'm there. He's currently offering very little to what we're attempting to do. My brother mentioned earlier about a 4-3-3 with one deep lying midfielder being Downs, Paqueta and Rice being, your 2 other midfielders. Then there's no room for him, Rob. Not when we also have Lanzini and Fornals, who can then also operate where Declan Rice would if Declan Rice was to then drop in, if you want. If we decide to go and sell him in January, we bring in someone to replace him, someone that can play. If we do decide to sell him, then Souček can go into that midfield role where he breaks forward, which is what Declan Rice's role is. And then, that kind of then it's there, isn't it? But right now, Souček is just a glorified centre-back midfielder, and he's offering nothing to us when we need to be breaking at pace with decent passes.
Fair. Lucas Paqueta, Steve?
First game back, some nice touches. Again, I think the tactics are completely squashing him, but I'm going to give him a 5. He tried bloody hard. Excuse my language. He tracked back. He did all the things you want him to, and to keep going in that level of frustration. I think he did okay.
Duke?
Matchday go one rating worse, 4. That's not a valid mark for what he's trying to do. It's more the fact that, as Steve said there, the tactics are hindering him. There were some great touches out there. I just feel that in the way that he's being played in a 4-2-3-1, the two wide players up there next to him are so wide. He's offered no outlet, if you will, a quick pass off, which means he has to take 1, 2, 3, 4 touches more than is necessary, and he's getting absolutely lumped. Take a look at the injury he picked up yesterday. It could have quite easily been a red card. The geezer stamps down, clutching at straws, I suppose. But, you get players in and around him with then that in tow, in and around Scamacca, you see a whole different kettle of fish, and a 4 really isn't a reflection on him. It's more a reflection of the tactics around him, which don't allow him to get into the game.
Would it surprise you to know that Lucas Paqueta yesterday, and I'm not for 1 minute suggesting that he had a stellar performance, he quite clearly didn't, but Brazil's number 10 made more tackles than any other West Ham player. In fact, he made double the amount of tackles as the next nearest West Ham player, which was Craig Dawson on 3. Paqueta made 6.
Successful tackles, is that?
Yes.
So successful tackles. Does he say how many tackles he made in total, Rob, or attempted tackles?
I've not got that information, but I've got he won 6 challenges.
I could
Dawson
say that's
was
probably in
next
double
3.
figures.
Crazy. But he didn't have a good game. And he's Brazil's number 10. He shouldn't be making 6 challenges in a game or 6 tackles in a game. Do you know what I mean?
That's where as Steve said and I've said, the tactics are squeezing him. We're not getting the best out of you're not getting the best out of your central defensive midfielder in Declan Rice. You're not getting your best performance out of Jared Bowen, Benrahma, Luca Paqueta, or even Scamacca up front because of the tactical setup that we find ourselves in.
Yeah. Then we turn our attention to the guy that, in my opinion, was given a rather harsh hauling from the pitch when he was substituted for Manuel Lanzini, and that is Mr. Saeed Benrahma, the goal scorer. So, Steve, what are your thoughts?
8. He was the only player with any intent. He scored a cracking goal. How the hell he got hooked, I'll never know. I mean, it's got to be the craziest decision I have ever seen. And to say he didn't offer much in the game, he offered infinitely more than the rest of the team. And the comment of, well, apart from the goal, he didn't offer much. That is why he's on the pitch, to put the ball in the net. That is the point of football. And he was the only one who did it for us. He only offered a goal. Well, that's what you're trying to do, surely. That is the ultimate aim, to score a goal. I thought he tracked back, he worked hard. I tell you what, if I was him, I'd be so angry at being hooked. Well, the entire stadium was angry he was hooked.
Yeah.
When he was subbed, there were boos, and then we started singing Saeed Benrahma.
Yep.
And quite rightly, he should not have come off that pitch. If anyone was going to do anything, it was going to be him. So he gets an 8.
Duke?
Not going to be as generous. I'm going to give him a 7. He gets my man of the match.
Yeah, gets mine as well.
And that hurts. Listen, I've become a massive Benrahma advocate over the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
He's been our best player of the season consistently for the last 4 games, and that's bad. That just shows you how bad the rest are, but I will give credit where credit's due, Rob. I've said numerous times on this channel, on these videos, where I feel Benrahma's best position is. in the middle, where he doesn't have to think. He just does what comes naturally. And you want to know something? That goal yesterday came from Benrahma being in the middle and doing what came naturally. He held off. He was strong in that goal, Rob. Very strong.
Yes.
He held off that challenge. He got his head over the ball. He got his knee bent over the top of the ball as well. He weren't leaning back like I've seen dozens of times from that man. He got everything right. And you know why? Because he didn't have to think. It all just came naturally. It was all in a snapshot of about 2 seconds. Ball to feet, hold off, let go, go. He done what came naturally to him, and it was brilliant. It was so good. He was the only one out there yesterday for me that showed. Yes, we have. He was the only one out there yesterday that showed me that he had a heart, a drive, and a desire. And the fact that he stood there, as you pointed out earlier, while Moyes is talking to Lanzini, you can see he's got his back to the camera and he literally just goes,
I know what's coming next.
and if my memory serves me, he was on the other side of the pitch, wasn't he? And came off. Did he come off the other side? So he walked back to where he was meant to be, and then was hooked and walked round. Like I don't know what he's done to Moyes. I'm sorry, but that's where I'm at now. What has he done?
Or something? I don't know.
Hey, listen, his name's not Wilf. He scored it in the other end, allegedly.
He's really, he likes it like that, does he?
He might have fucked Moyes. You never know. I don't know what he's got to do to get the accolade from Moyes that he deserves. If you take a listen to Moyes' comments and really understand the subcontext of it, Rob, not even just what he said, listen to the words he uses. He says, well, he scored the goal, but what else did he do? Yeah, there's your context. There's your subcontext of what he's trying to tell you. He scored the goal, but done fuck all else. Well, sorry, Moyes. He was the only one that was trying to go forward. He was the only one that was trying to make things happen. And you took off the one player that was at least attempting to make things happen without throwing himself on the floor like a cunt.
Well,
Sorry.
let's just turn our attention to the other wing for a moment, Steve. This is the person that I think legitimately should have been given the hook, but for whatever reason, he played the full 90. Jared Bowen. What say you?
Well, if Bowen hadn't been on the pitch and we played with 10 men, would we have been any worse off?
I don't think anyone would have noticed, quite frankly.
No. So
I didn't barely notice that he was on the pitch as it was.
So he gets 0 because he contributed nothing. Absolutely nothing all game. Him being on the pitch or off the pitch didn't matter either way. Sorry, if you're going to get a mark, if you're going to get a positive mark, you've got to make a contribution.
He did have one shot, but
well, yeah, okay, but when you look at it and think we would be no worse off playing with 10 men, and I genuinely think that, I can't give him a mark. I'm giving him 0. I'm sorry, I thought he was awful.
Duke?
Not quite going there. I'm not quite going with Hammerhead's comment of selling him now. But something needs to happen. As my brother said earlier, is it the fact that Soufal's not supporting him like he was last year due to the tactics and Moyes' defensive mentality? Is it because he's too busy sticking it where the sun don't shine? Is it because he's too busy making fucking stupid adverts with Declan Rice for PlayStation or Xbox or whatever, FIFA, whatever it is? But something is fundamentally wrong with what's going on with that gentleman out on that right hand side, and we are suffering as a team because of it. I'm going to give him a 1.
Mm-hmm.
There really isn't much else to say, Rob.
So does he get your 0 award?
No.
Wow. He gets mine.
Fair enough. There you go. Okay, so Steve, we come to the last member of the starting 11. We turn our attention to hooks at half time. Gianluca Scamacca, Italy's number 9, and he's a shadow of the player that that reputation should carry.
I tell you what, he tried damn hard. He tried to make things happen. You could see he was getting frustrated, and rightly so. He had no support at all. He closed down. I'm going to give him a 6, just to pure effort and coping with the mind-numbing frustration of the football we were playing yesterday. I thought he could hold his head high because he didn't give up, unlike quite a few other players on the pitch. So 6 for me.
Duke?
I'm going to go 1 down from that and give him a 5. No, a 6, sorry. At one point, Robbie was 5 yards outside our box trying to win the ball back because he got so fucking bored of standing up there without even touching the ball. He tracked all the way back. Okay, he pretty much helped them with their attack because he kind of kicked the ball and didn't kick the ball at the same time. Ran past it, allowed him to play passes through, but he cut such a lonely figure up there. As I said earlier, he's trying to close down on his own, and he's closing down 3 or 4 players, including the keeper. He's trying to do that on his own. There's no coordinated press. There's no players coming out to help him, and that comes from Moyes' tactics. That comes from the negativity that's being driven out by Moyes and the dross that we're all watching. I wouldn't blame him. I'll tell you now, you can see it happening. We've seen it happen once. He'll go on to somewhere else and he'll be banging in goals for fun.
Yeah.
He'll end up down at PSG when Neymar goes to back to Barca or whatever, or Mbappe goes to Real Madrid. He'll go to PSG and fire him to a Champions League final. Watch.
Yeah.
Oh, it was the same with Sebastian Haller, wasn't it?
Exactly. And that's
Over
the
again.
point. We make a goal scoring striker into a non-goal scoring goal scorer.
Yeah.
So now we turn our attentions to the guy in the dugout. Steve, give me your assessment of David Moyes.
Oh, not again.
Has he left?
I don't know.
I'm back. I've returned.
All right. Okay. Give me your marking for the guy in the dugout, Mr. Moyes.
Sorry. Give Moyes a mark.
Please.
Blimey. I'm not allowed to give negative marks, am I?
You can do what you want.
Okay, -5. It was awful. It was a shambles.
Wow. You dropped into the minus territory.
When I watch my team and I am embarrassed by what they do. I've seen worse performances, but I've come away and thought, okay, I can live with that because boy did they try. Boy were the tactics good. Under John Lyall, we didn't have the greatest players in the world, but they always put in a shift and the tactics were always well thought out and good. Moyes has got some world-class players in there, and that performance yesterday was embarrassing. And I tell you what, we're going to get it's Leicester. We're going to shut up shop and try and nick the goal so we can get 3 points. That's what we'll see. And you know I'm right, don't you, Rob?
Yeah, I can see it. Sadly.
Yeah. So I'm sorry. I have been one of David, like Duke, I've been one of David Moyes' biggest fans. But that was ridiculous yesterday. It hasn't worked all season. You've gone out, you've done it again, and guess what? It still hasn't worked.
Well, I made a comment on. I think it might have been Kent that he put a post out on social media yesterday, and I sort of turned around and said I could have picked David Moyes' starting lineup, the moment I saw his starting lineup against FCSB Thursday night, I knew what he was going to put out. Now, if I can work it out, I'm pretty confident that Patrick Vieira worked it out as well.
Yeah.
I would love to play Texas Hold'em against David Moyes because it would be like taking candy from a baby. I would know exactly when he has a good hand. I would know exactly when he's got a shit hand, and I could play accordingly. It would be like playing against an ATM.
I tell you what, actually, I've been too generous to Moyes. -6 because he had to go at the fans.
Yes.
And that is unacceptable. I'm sorry, but that defeat lays on you, and your choices are on you. We are not paid to make that team work. We pay to go and watch them. You are paid damn good money, more money than I'll earn in a lifetime, to make good decisions and to make our team worse. So you don't turn around and blame the fans and moan at them for their reaction. While we are paying customers, we are entitled to voice an opinion. Not rudely, not abusively, but we're allowed to say we don't agree. So he gets -6 because I actually think him having a dig at the fans was pretty low. Okay. And if I'll say this now, and I've always been Moyes in, you know this, but if we could get the right manager, I don't just want any manager, I want the right one, I'd swap him tomorrow.
Your thoughts on David Moyes, Duke?
I'm not even going to give him the privilege of a mark, Rob.
Oh no, come on! You got to give him something.
No. I'm not. I can't. He doesn't deserve one. Even one so kind as a -6. Even one so kind as a -69. I like it. He doesn't deserve a mark. He has got everything wrong. Okay, from his treatment of players, his treatment of fans, he has got everything wrong. He's tactically inept right now. Right? It's true. He's tactically inept right now. Okay? His treatment of players, okay, from his favourites in Souček and Bowen to his, I won't even say hatred of Saeed Benrahma, but he's just...
He doesn't rate him. I think that's fairly patently obvious.
Disdain for Saeed Benrahma. I'll go with that, Rob.
Yep.
His allowance to allow Declan Rice, in my opinion, to disrupt the flow of a team that was performing so well the season before last. Pardon me. The fact that he's not got the bollocks to stand up to him and say, well, no, Dec, that's not for the benefit of the team that you're playing for. This is what we're doing. Okay? He's spineless, Rob. He's got no backbone. The fact, as Steve says there, he came after the fans. He's no different than that, right? And I can guarantee you, if there were fans that could have got over the advertising hoardings at Upton Park and gone and punched Big Sam straight in the face, they would have done so in that moment. I felt the same yesterday when I heard those comments. Okay? I don't think Benrahma did a lot after his goal. Well, just because your tactics are shit, you Scottish Tony Pulis. Like, seriously, you need to open your eyes. If you want to still be in a job in 10 days' time, 11 days' time, if you still want to have a job, okay, you need to go out Wednesday. You need to convincingly beat Blackburn, which I don't think we're going to be able to. And I think, is Brereton Diaz fit? I think he was fit at the weekend and fucking scored.
I think what saves us against Blackburn is the fact that Blackburn have got bigger fish to fry. They're going for promotion. I don't think it'll
matter. I don't think it'll matter. I think their manager will still take a shot at beating the big boys. I think they will, because these big boys aren't big boys at the minute, and we're a European Premier League club that's playing like a fucking relegation candidate out of the Championship. So Blackburn are going to fancy their chances. Now, if he can
We
rock
barely
up
got
now,
past Kidderminster last season.
right? Well, listen, we watched that. Let's not do that again because I still get heart palpitations over that. If he can put together something against Blackburn that shows us that the attacking intention is there, that we can go out, and he has this other master plan to go out and play 4-3-3, as Danny said, with Paqueta and da. And then he does the same, and he gives us that against Leicester, and we get a convincing win because we play on the front foot, because we play attacking, because we have an intention to go and get a goal before we concede one, and not just sit back. Shows the fans, i.e. there, that we're respected, that he understands that we want what's best for our club, the same as him, yet he gets paid for it and we pay for the honour. He ain't going to be in a job next week, mate. And I'm on. Listen, I fell off the other side of the fence at the start of this video. I came out of yesterday at the tipping point. Okay,
Yeah.
I came off of the game at tipping point, but to turn around and go at the fans, to turn around and make the comment that he did about Benrahma, I fell off the other side of that fence, and I'm now Moyes out. He's got to go if we feel, if we want to have any shot of building on what we've created over the last 2 years.
Fair.
Tell you what I'd like to give Moyes. He's P45.
A kick in the rear end out the door. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, everything has its time, and I do look at it and think that the writing's on the wall. I'm afraid it really does feel like it's come. Yeah, but listen, that's not our decision to make. That's for the mandarins above Mr. Moyes to make a decision on that. I've got a funny feeling that they'll wait until after the Leicester game. I don't think it's going to come before, no matter what happens against Blackburn, whether they beat us or not. I don't think that it'll be made until the final whistle against Leicester. As I say, the only thing that worries me is that we somehow stink the place out, fluke a 1-0 win, and they go, okay, we'll give him a bit more time, and we go to the Arsenal game on Boxing Day. Listen, we know what's going to happen there because Moyes has never. We've said this before. He's never gone to a top 6 team away from home and picked up all 3 points. And unfortunately, that's precisely what he would need to do. For me, a point wouldn't even be close to being good enough. When I say not being good enough, it wouldn't be close to being good enough in terms of getting us up the league table. Yeah, ordinarily you'd take a point away at Arsenal, but in the context of the situation we're in right now, a point really don't help us too much.
Well, the sad thing is that regardless of what he does now, okay, between now and the end of the season, it's not going to matter for me.
Yeah.
The fact that he turned on the fans, the fact that he made the disparaging comments that he did about, say, Benrahma, the fact that he made, it's one of a million things, Rob, but the fact that, he could pick up 3 points against Leicester. We could lose to Arsenal. As far as I'm concerned, what he needs to do now is win every game. Because if he does not win every game between now and the end of the season, okay, there are going to be people going, woohoo, out the door, fuck off. It needs to be for him to win me back. Okay, and everyone is in on point on this as well. For him to win me back, Rob, over the next 5 months, he can't lose a game.
Well, that's not going to happen, is it? Let's be honest. So, before, if I may, Steve, because there was where is it? Here we go. Just to give you guys a little bit of a steer on this. A couple of matches ago, I might have been a little bit mischievous on my part, but I think it might have been after the Brighton game. I don't know. I did a couple of polls on Facebook and on Twitter asking a real simple question: Moyes in, Moyes out. Now, Twitter was quite definitely Moyes out, even at that stage. And I've done the same polls again in the wake of the match yesterday. As I say, previously when I did it, it was quite conclusively Moyes out on Twitter, which I kind of expected. Twitter seems to be a lot more negativity. Is that the right way of phrasing?
Agreed.
I think that's fair to say. When I did the same poll on the Forged Facebook page, it was the other way round. It was a complete switch around. It was quite strongly Moyes in. Well, I got to tell you guys, looking on the poll on the Facebook page of Falls from Iron, it is in Moyes' favour, but it's 52-48.
I'm surprised.
52-48 are in favour of Moyes staying, but that has swung around quite drastically from a little while ago when it was quite comprehensively Moyes in. On the Twitter page, Moyes out. It's not even close. 88.1%.
Again, I'm not surprised by it, Rob. To be honest with you, I'm really not. Twitter, in all fairness, Twitter is a very, by and large, toxic community. It is. I don't care what anyone says. Okay, it's a very, by and large, toxic community. We are a very fickle fan base.
Yeah.
When it comes to certain things, okay, but what we are not a group of fans that will sit idly by and let our players and our management team phone it in. Yeah, and that is how it's feeling. Yeah, that's how it's feeling. You know, I feel like these players are, as I put it, phoning it in. You know, if we want, if we want to be able to push on, as some people are calling it, then things have to change. Certain players have to step up, the likes of Declan Rice, the likes of Jared Bowen. You know, they're, as I say, phoning it in, Rob. That's how I feel. Nothing that I've seen over the last, even like we say, the papering over the cracks wins of the Conference League. The one at the, what was it? The one against Anderlecht. You know, cracks were papered. It was a win, yes, but it wasn't pretty. These players have to stand up and be accountable, but Moyes has to take the brunt of it for his negative football. And I can't even say defensive football. It's just negative.
I tell you what will get Moyes out. It will be fan pressure, because David Sullivan wants to be liked by the fans. And if the fans turn on Moyes, that will be what will get him. And I think that comment, having to go at the fans yesterday, certainly riled me. You know, and, as I said, I'm very difficult to be to get cross, but how dare you? I've paid my money. I'm entitled to an opinion. You know, you're entitled to your opinion, and I respect that. Please respect mine. It doesn't agree with yours.
Right, we've been doing this for an hour and 43 if we just include this particular stream, not the one that bit the dust a little bit earlier, but there you go. Guys, if you're watching this on YouTube, please don't forget to give it a like. And if you're not watching it on YouTube, if we could ask you very kindly to pop across to YouTube real quick and drop a like on the stream. It really does help the channel out tremendously. And talking about helping out, Duke, press the button, please. Forged from Iron is proud to support Iron Supporting Food Banks. They are a group of West Ham United fans and friends inspired by the work of other football fan food banks around the country. They collect food and cash donations from Newham Food Bank in Beckton, who supply 7 distribution centres in the borough, 7 days a week, and hand out several hundred 3-day emergency food packs every month to families in need. They are also working with other groups to improve conditions for vulnerable adults and children in the Newham community. They are supported in their efforts by West Ham United Football Club, the WHU Foundation, LS185, London Legacy Development Corporation, Newham Council, the Met Police, Spire London East Hospital, Expedient Security, and a large number of West Ham and football fans. You can help by making a donation to their Just Giving page. You will find the link to this in the description section of the video details in this stream. Thank you for your support. Come on, you Irons. Normally I end the stream by saying, Duke, what are we? I can't be fucking bothered, quite frankly.
Can we?
Do you really want to? Do you really want to? Okay, all right. Duke, what are we?
A tiny miniature club.
Embarrassing.
That's not really something to be pleased about, is it?
No.
But we'll end it as we always do. Come on, you Irons.
Come on, you Irons.